Shalom Israel, Rakam, Kabash, GMS London, what's up, saying praise Jehovah, Hashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the elders of GMS, the apostles, okay, and honors out there to the brothers on the highways and byways teaching the truth and sincerity. Okay, just wanted to go through a couple of articles that I picked up, concerning this Ebola thing right now. Okay, the so-called devil, is starting all this shit. Okay, Ebola just didn't appear out of nowhere and start infecting, mans in the west of Africa. Okay, because it's funny, that's where most of Jake groups live, man, in the west of Africa. Okay, a lot of them. Okay, and it's funny, that's where it started, man. But it was the US government that released that virus there, man. Okay, like I said, it just out of nowhere, man. And basically it's in the elite's mind to start a situation, man, through this pandemic. Okay, feeding on the fear of people, man. Okay, I said we got this article here, man, that tells you that they've even patented a rabies and the Ebola hybrid. Okay, they already have a patent on the Ebola on the strain of Ebola virus already. Okay, showing you it's in a controlled area, man. So the reason why it becomes uncontrolled is if it's released. Okay, so obviously they've released it in the west of Africa, man, and now it's starting to spread, and it's getting to these other nations in Europe and in the States. Okay, but this, like I said, is part of the plan. Okay, it's not meant to be contained. Okay, that's why now it's hitting Europe and it's hitting the States. Now they're not really built to deal with this virus. Okay, there's not enough treatment centers for this. Okay, the best they can offer you is quarantine, man. But like I said, the Ebola has stepped up its mortality rate is now up to 70% so far. Okay, from the latest numbers. Okay, apparently there's not been no new Ebola Ebola cases in the last 5 days or so. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. could triple tomorrow, who knows? But but the thing is, this is all set up by the elites, man, to kill people off, man. But if you know anything about the elites, man, they got a problem with the amount of people that are currently on this earth, man. Okay, according to the Georgia Guidestones, okay, they want to kill off humanity down to 500 million. Okay, so considering there's about 7 billion people on the planet today, man, it's a large cut. Okay, but this is just one of many methods that they have for population control. Okay, but like I said, we're gonna get into a couple of articles, man, that just come under the radar. I'm just gonna read through them, bring a couple of scriptures out. Okay, this is from vineoflifenews.com. It says, what rabies Ebola hybrid vaccine in the making, government patented proof. Okay. Alright, and on this heading it reads here. So in the zombie flick 28 days later, an unstoppable viral plague sweeps the nation, altering people into brainless monsters with cannibalistic tendencies. Though dead people can't come back to life, certain viruses can provoke aggression, zombie-like behavior. For example, rabies, a viral disease that infects the central nervous system, has the capability to drive a person violently mad. Feelings such as anxiety, confusion, hallucinations, and paralysis are all typical applicants of the rabies virus. If we were to combine rabies with Ebola or the flu virus, it could easily spread through the air, and we might have our version of a zombie apocalypse. Obviously not dead people rising, but a virus that drives people mad. Okay, so right now they're playing with different viruses and trying to get certain effects out of combining viruses together, man. Okay, there's a lot of zombie movies out there, about zombie apocalypse movies out there, which represents you people, man. The zombies are the people. Okay, because obviously there's no living dead. Okay, but the people, man, you are zombies out here. You're slow. You're retarded. Okay, you don't know really what's going on out here. Okay, but the elites, they want to get this place into a state of martial law, and they want to kill. They want to destroy people, man. Okay, and when martial law comes upon the people, man, you know, it's often met with resistance. Okay, and you'll be likened to a zombie. You know, because it talks about uh, showing signs of anxiety, confusion, hallucinations. Man, I will throw desperation in there, because people get desperate and do mad things, man. You know, I'd throw that in there, because they all look all similar, man. But like I said, the elites want to bring you know, these nations into a state of martial law where they can control people and then put them into FEMA camps, into concentration camps or death camps. You know. But like I said, you know, in these movies, man, the zombies represent the people and what they want to do to the people. Because you're like a virus to them. You're like a virus yourself. Okay. So it's a quote here. It says, "All rabies has to do is go airborne, and we have our rage virus." Say Max Mod, head of the Zombie Research Society. Okay. So they're movies like The Crazies or 28 Days Later that we just read. Okay. It shows you all that. It says, while it is theoretically possible, though extremely difficult, to create a hybrid rabies influenza virus using modern genetic engineering techniques, I could imagine a scenario where you mix rabies with a flu virus to get airborne transmission, a measles virus to get personality changes, the encephalitis virus to cook your brain with fever and thus increase aggression even further, and throw in the Ebola virus to cause you to bleed from your guts. Combine all these things and you'll get something like a zombie virus agency at the University of Miami. Okay, so like I said, the elites are playing with shit, man. They got all kinds of different diseases to release on the unsuspecting masses, man. Okay, in this time of great trouble, this time of evil, man, the so-called white man's going to release all of these things, man. They're going to feel like, what the hell, man? So they're just going to release this shit and see what happens with it. But like I said, this is all engineered by the elites, okay? The elite banking families and that to control world population. Okay, I remember watching a video of Apostle Tahar saying that it's not necessarily the Ebola that people should be concerned about, but the vaccines used to treat it. Okay, because what the elder was saying, what the apostle was saying, was that through fear of getting Ebola, you're gonna take vaccine to prevent you getting it, but at the same time they're gonna give you, you know, other things, or you know, and the Ebola strain, and it could come in the form of an RFID chip or whatever, man, which is the mark of the beast. Okay, that basically using the Ebola as a way to convince you to take the chip, or to take some other form of disease, man, to be spread, you know. We know so-called white man works in subtle ways, man, crafty ways. Okay, so you know, you got to be on alert on that, be circumspect and see what's going on around you. Okay, let's get a scripture, man. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, we know what the so-called white man gets up to, man. We know how he deals with certain situations. Okay, so you know, when things like this happen, man, you just have to watch closely and try and read what it is they're doing with it. Okay, we know the end game Okay, it's just the steps he takes to get there. Okay, you just have to be on the lookout. Okay, this is Ephesians chapter 5 verse 15. So see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Okay, so like it says, man, to be circumspect, we're watching out for these things all the time. Okay, we've been set up as watchmen to alert our people. Okay, to unveil the things that are currently, hidden to people, man. They can't see. So we're blowing that trumpet. Okay. So that was the one article. Okay. This one's from naturalnews.com, and it says here, university scientists openly advocated Ebola release to kill off 90% of the world population. Okay, so I'm just giving you insight to these devils and how they think and what it is they want to achieve, man. Okay, and they believe that they can use Ebola to do this, man. Okay, so let's read this one. It says, why anyone, even an uber liberal academic, would ever want to see most of the world's population killed is a mystery. Well, it's not a mystery to us. It says, but sure enough, the FBI has developed an interest in just such an academic, especially now that the Ebola virus has landed in the United States. As reported by LifeSite News, the virus causes a form of hemorrhagic fever in which internal organs eventually deteriorate and liquefy. There is no known cure or vaccine for the disease, and it has an extremely high mortality rate of between 80 and 90% in most parts of the world where it strikes. It is also high on the list of possible bioterror weapons of concern to international law enforcement and military security agencies. Tom Clancy's thriller novel Rainbow Six describes a group of radical environmentalists that wants to rid the world of people using a modified version of Ebola. Okay, like I said, this is exactly the situation that has come about. Okay, except for it's not radical environmentalists. Okay, it's just the elites, man. The elites got people working in the CDC to make these viruses, and basically they get the order to release them. Okay, that's what happens, and Tom Clancy is a writer, right? Of the Rainbow Six series, okay, whatever, and it talks about this. Makes me want to read the book for real, but it talks about the situation like this happening, and we just read about a hybrid Ebola rabies virus. Okay, so that's a modified version of Ebola. Okay, I'm not saying that's what it is, but just showing you, man, that they're using this Ebola as a weapon. The elites are using this as a weapon, man. Okay, to try and force something, to achieve a certain goal. Okay, and it's not the most direct of things of just simply killing people off, man. But there's other things that they're using this Ebola virus for, okay, to cause panic and still martial law, and it could even collapse the economy, man. There's a lot of things this Ebola virus could do. Okay, it could do many things, man. Okay, and the elites are using it for their desired effect, man. Okay. It says everyone will have to bury night, and that's why the FBI is interested in speaking with Dr. Eric R. Pianka, a Texas ecologist and herpetologist, who suggested during a meeting at the Texas Academy of Sciences that were Ebola to become airborne, it would likely kill 90% of the human population and instantly solve